Okay, are we on a bayou?
Yep.
Keep knocking my head on that.
The nearest river from here is 30 miles. And you got two. One that way, Sabine River. One that way, at the end of this is the Red River. Actually, the Red River is about 48 miles.
Yeah, because you'd have to go to California.
Normal, there's no current. That's why it's a bayou. Bayou is shallow and has no current.
Okay.
But our water's high right now, about 4 foot up, so we got current. And yeah, you can float down as long as you got.
Miss Josie was got the other side. Felt like it was miles.
There it is. This was called the turning basin. The water was 10 foot deeper and over 1,000 yards wide across here.
Wow.
The buildings you see almost in front of us, that was the wharf and the dock. That white car, that's Dallas Street. That's where they parked the boat. And I got proof somewhere. I've got something that's probably, that was the deal. They figured it was done out of a hot air balloon.
Wow. This bridge was 1906.
No, there was no bridge.
What's
Oh,
the
I'm
main
sorry.
reason for it to be
sorry.
so much narrower now?
We'll get to that. The reason why Jefferson is here is because of cotton that was grown in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. All right? They had to haul their cotton when they sold it because they started settling that in the early 1800s. When they grew their cotton to sell it, they had to haul it all the way to Galveston. Take about 2 months to get back home. Red River was Natchitoches. So he convinced the boat owners and the cotton growers to finance of removing enough of the log jam they could get the boats up there. So they started at Natchitoches, and when they got to where Shreveport is now, they were able to enter the bayou. If anybody's ever been to Shreveport and Bossier, when you cross the Red River, you look on your left over from the Civil War. That's where they stored the gunpowder. They put it way out here because its steering was a problem. Because this bayou for the next 16 miles is very crooked and windy. Got some sharp bends in it. With the water up, that means I'm closer to the tops of these trees. So, on my left.
You're mostly clear.
Really?
Mostly clear.
Yeah, that's a brown soft-shell turtle.
Wow.
Those are the smaller ones. They get about twice that big. The big green ones that we have get about anything they want. There's over 80 species of fish imported here. Got every kind of catfish, bass, jasper, goon, crappie. Now, we're balls. They boil them to get the little bones out. Then they roll them in balls and batter them and then deep fry them. They're really good. Now, when they get big, you get alligator gar steaks. And it's the only fish I know you can cook in the house and it don't stink up the house. Because it don't smell like fish. It don't even taste like fish. It tastes more like gator.
Wow.
It's more like a meat than it is a flaky fish. And alligator gar here do get very big. They get over 12 feet long.
Wow.
They get as big as our alligators.
Oh my wow.
On the Brazos River outside of Waco, I had some people on here from Waco, and I'd been hearing rumors of alligator gar attacking people, and they said that was true. Right before they came, there was a 12-year-old girl that got attacked and pulled under, and they got her, tore up her foot a little bit, but they said they had reported sightings of alligator gar over 14 feet. I said, well, I know why they're attacking people. They're looking for bigger food. Guess what? That's us.
So you got to be a prehistoric fish.
Oh, yeah.
They have to be prehistoric.
Well, apparently, as big as they found out as big as they get older than alligators because they get bigger than alligators. Paddlefish, Paddlefish precedes dinosaurs. Before, 2 years ago, they finally took her car keys away from her.
Ooh.
Was she speeding?
Well, she was getting forgetful. She put diesel in it instead of gas.
No.
So they said, well, it's time to take her keys.
Wow, I almost do that all the time.
I said, you should have took her keys 20 years ago. Because she would make somebody behind her wreck. Because she was going to go around a left-hand curve, she's going to put her left-hand turn signal on. And that would confuse the heck out of people. They'd slam on their brakes and everything else. Thought she was fixing to stop and turn.
And once you get to a certain age, you don't care. You know, you just don't care.
Yeah, I did that when I turned
know that's
25. That's an RV park. That's where Diamond Don has the train ride. And the last weekend in May, he'll have his Civil War reenactment. He has a Civil War gunboat replica built that's got 6 cannons on it. He'll put it in the water here. We'll add an extra tour, and we'll come down here and park and block the bayou so idiots on speedboats can't fly through here. And he'll have stop the train and they'll have battles right here.
Cool.
That'd be neat.
And then the first weekend in May is the Jefferson Spillage, right across the street from us, where the Powder magazine is. That's where they have their Civil War reenactments. Then we'll park the boat right there and watch the reenactment.
See that? Watching all these limbs pretty close.
Now, Caddo Lake has over 80 species of fish in it. We're home of the largest stand of cypress trees anywhere in the world. Nobody has more cypress trees than we do. And they are protected. You can't harm the tree or the knees. People used to cut the knees for artwork. That's the roots. Start cutting the roots, you're going to kill the tree. When a cypress tree grows in the water, the roots grow straight up. That's how they expel excess water. Now, the gators don't stay in the water here.
Oh, no.
Till then, it's kind of a pain. Not too bad. They were trying to attract the aristocrats, and they did a pretty good job. You go around town, see all the big fancy Victorian houses, see that. So they come up with a whole bunch of city ordinances, enforced them. And right at the top of the list of the city ordinances was an ordinance against plain old everyday headlights. Because they didn't want to get an epidemic of headlights started in their nice hotels and brothels. And the reason is, the only way they knew how to deal with an epidemic was fire. They go to the source and burn it to the ground. So they didn't want to do that. So when a boat docked in Jefferson, before the crew could get off the boat, they were inspected. And if anybody had headlights, they wouldn't let them off the boat. And I would imagine back during the frontier days, if they got caught sneaking off the boat, it became gator food. I mean, you gotta keep the gators happy. So the boat would dock back here. All the crew would get off the boat, and they would wash from head to toe, clothes and all, in coal oil. Now, coal oil is what they burn in their lamps, and different things like that. It smells as bad as diesel, and it's highly flammable. So they'd wash in that coal oil, and it would get rid of the lice, the mites, the fleas, ticks, chiggers, dandruff, skin irritations, toe fungus, and it would clean your clothes. So once they did that, if they didn't want to smell like coal oil and be highly flammable riding on a boat that burned wood, they'd take a bar of lye soap, jump in the water, and start scrubbing. Once they got rid of all that coal oil, then they were deloused and exfoliated. They'd let them off the boat and go to town, enjoy the town. It also ensured the crew to get a bath once a month. 2 weeks to the morning, spend the night there, they get lice. 2 weeks to come back, they want to get off the boat, they had to take a bath. Now, if y'all look on your left, you'll see a wooden box on a wooden post. To the left of that, you see where the bank is cut out? That is an active gator slide. Been there for over 60 years. They done wore the bank down. About 100 yards in them woods is a 50, 60 acre slough or swamp, whatever you want to call it. And there's some very large gators in there, up to 10 foot. Well, they done ate all their food in there, so they come to the bayou to feed. So anytime we see a gator out here, he's here because he's hungry. That's why I say don't hold your hand over the boat. And then once they get full, then they get out because this water's cooler. Then you go back to the little swamp. It's usually just about 2 foot deep at the most. They don't like our cooler water. Now you go down on Caddo Lake where it opens up, the water warms up down there, and you can see gators anywhere, even in the wintertime. 3 weeks ago when we had 90-degree weather out here and the bayou was normal level, up close to where I parked my boats, there was an 8-footer. Come cruising through there under the bridges, looking for food. And the reason I say don't hold your hand over the boat, especially if somebody's been eating chicken. Because these fools around here feed them chicken. I feed them marshmallows. It's like giving a dog peanut butter. Sticks through their teeth and makes them smile. Now, how many here has been where they feed alligators? So you know an alligator can come over half its length out of water. Well, it is possible for a 6-foot gator or bigger to get in this boat. And where they get in the boat is this opening here where we came in and the one on the opposite side. Now, since we've only been open 3 weeks for the season so far, it hasn't happened, but it's possible a 6-foot or bigger gator will get in this boat. If
You
a
got a
gator
gun
gets-
to shoot it, right?
Huh? No.
You got a knife.
No, they're protected.
Oh,
no,
so
I
we
don't
just died, right?
No,
It's okay, I'll wrestle.
if a gator gets in the boat, there's a simple procedure to go through.
So,
Whoever's closest to the front of the gator, what you do is you double your fist up and hit it repeatedly on top of its nostrils. Don't punch it in its nose. It'll make him mad. But just hit him on top of its nostrils. And what that does is that gets his attention while I jump out the back of the boat and you clean up the mess. I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of soiled britches. We had lobbied the state of Texas where we turned around to put a no-wake buoy beyond this point. Slow these idiots down on this sharp wind. They killed our kayak canoe tourism. They completely killed it. Especially when the wave runners are coming up here. They run up here, run up and down the bayou about 60 miles an hour.
It should be.
They go around these sharp bends. They run over kayaks and canoes, flip them. I've had I don't know how many arrested. Because state law, if you're on the water, if you can't get over 50 feet away from a slow moving or stationary boat, you have to do idle speed. And on a bayou that's like this, that's windy, you're supposed to have one of these before you go around that curve. This bayou ain't even 40 foot wide. So when they go by me, they're not supposed to create a wave. And they don't. There's the train.
Where all does it go?
It turns around right where we did.
What do they do on that? Just ride or?
They ride it.
Yeah.
I mean,
In wintertime, you can,
Actually, you didn't see them out there pushing?
at Christmas time, you can see lights.
Not this Christmas.
No,
This is the last year that train runs. Right now, they're running for spring break, but then they're only going to run one Saturday a month, and then come December, that's it. There won't be no more train. They're shutting it down.
I haven't even rode
is there
There
a
won't be
reason?
no more Civil War reenactments out here, no more vintage motocross, nothing. They're old.
Oh, I
that train's from Six Gun Territory.
There was 3 of those. He had the steam engine, and he sold it 2 years ago. There was 3 of those steam engines built in 1963. They're narrow gauge. now the guy in Florida had one, Diamond Don had one, Michael Jackson had one. Now the guy in Florida owns all three. He's got a 500-acre amusement park down there. And rumor is he's already made Don an offer that when he shuts it down, he's going to come here and buy all the track, the rest of the train, and take it to Florida. I mean, Don is 77, his wife Francine is 78. They're tired. They want to retire. And I feel for him. I know exactly what he's talking about. I'm on my third retirement. I retired from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I was 27 years federal game warden. And then I worked 10 years for John Deere in Marshall. Retired from them. And then my wife, Angie, she had a store here in town, so we was just doing it. And then we went and bought a bigger building. It's 5 times as big as the original one. And then we decided to buy the boats. And then we opened up another store. And then we bought the property outside of town. I told her, I said, we're supposed to be getting ready for retirement, not building up.
Getting rid of stuff.
She said, well, this is for retirement. So we had a 10-year plan, and we're in our 6th year of our 10-year plan. So it'll take a while, then they'll realize that they should have promoted it back in a lot more. I mean, it would take somebody with a lot of money to come here and buy that 200 acres for the rest of the train. Because that train
Is that it?
sit 200 feet.
Or is that it?
That is another person.
That's the main reason. It's
Big stink.
well, it don't stink.
No, I'm saying. It's not like gas.
And then every 5 years, he has to load that train, that steam engine up on a 18-wheeler, send it to Cincinnati, and have it inspected and repaired. And that's $20,000. So that's why he sold it. And then this track, he has to work on it every day before every run. Before, that day of the run. So, and it's just him and one other guy, young guy. So, like I said, Don 77, between him and the other guy, it's a lot of work. Yep.
Jefferson was smart and
Well, it'd be a little difficult because the track, some of the track's not on his land. It belongs to somebody else. He just pays the taxes for them to use it. Green ones are semi-protected. They were doing mining. And there's some little sauce there. Ones that ain't jumping, I just got out of the water. I'm waiting for a bill to be sticking out the backside of that box. Because they're flying so fast, they got to have some really good air brakes. And then a lot of times in the spring, when the water in the bayou is normal, I take the canoe and go upstream up there where it gets really narrow and shallow, and watch the otters and their little ones. Down on the winter, they're down here in the wintertime. They use these high banks for their playground. They make a slide.
No.
They'll run up them, slide down. Run up them, slide down. Now, the boats came up here all the way to 1906. This metal bridge is the reason why they quit coming. They started work on it in 1907. You look on the right on the concrete, it says 1907. If you look on the left, it says 1908. And if you're wondering why there's 2 different years stamped on it, well, it took them a year to get to that side. Because they didn't do that. This is all done by hand. And they filled in the turning basin. The boats couldn't get under the bridge, and they had no use for the boats no more. So Jefferson almost disappeared within 1 year. Because at one time, in the 1800s, there could have been as many as 20,000 people here in Jefferson. Because if you looked at that picture where it showed where the boats are parked, you can see how big Jefferson is. And that's a small picture. There's some bigger ones that really shows the size of Jefferson. It was way bigger than it is now. They were trying to irrigate the farmers down south, so they made their ditch so big it shrunk the lake. So
Kelly, if you don't stop taking pictures.